Most people do not actually experience a full decade of life over the next 10 years. Instead, they simply live the same year 10 times over. They carry the same habits, rely on the same tired excuses, remain at the same income level, and put forth the same mediocre effort. They tell themselves the same stories for years, and then wonder why their circumstances never shift. You cannot call this growth. It is merely survival. As we look toward the horizon of 2027, you must realize that standing still is never a neutral act. In fact, standing still is incredibly expensive. While you remain stationary, the world continues its relentless pace. Your competitors are refining their crafts, opportunities are evolving into new forms, and time itself is collecting interest on every lesson you refuse to learn. The cost of stagnation is often invisible at the start, but it eventually manifests as the heavy weight of regret. Regret for the risks you avoided, the vital conversations you skipped, and the talents you allowed to wither away. The arrival of a new year won't change your life simply because the calendar flips its page. January doesn't possess any inherent magic. It only brings more of exactly what you've been doing, unless you decide to change the nature of your actions. Change is the only true insurance policy you have against a life of regret. The good news is that you don't need a total overhaul by tomorrow morning. You simply need to stop standing still. Improving yourself isn't a luxury or a hobby. It is a fundamental responsibility. You owe it to the person you will become in 2027 to be better than you are today. Not perfect, just better. The only way to ensure that the coming year rewards you more is to become a person who deserves more. The seed of all improvement is awareness. The very second you stop saying someday and start saying this day, your life begins to shift its trajectory. Growth doesn't wait for a formal invitation or permission from others. It begins the moment you decide that your current level of comfort is no longer worth the cost of your future potential. Ask yourself, how many times have you repeated the same cycle? How many times have you promised yourself that things would be different, only to drift back into the same old rhythms? The truth is, no one drifts toward success. You drift toward average. Success requires a deliberate sense of direction. If you want 2027 to look different than 2026, you must decide what needs to be different about you. The marketplace is indifferent to your hopes and wishes. It only responds to the value you bring to the table. Your relationships, your physical health, and your bank account are all mirrors reflecting who you have become, not what you have dreamed of. This is your starting line. Improvement. Improvement in your thought patterns, your discipline, your focus, and your ability to execute. A good life isn't built on a foundation of luck or perfect timing. It is constructed through steady, intentional progress. The next 12 months will pass regardless of your choices. Whether they add to the richness of your life or subtract from your remaining time depends entirely on your actions. Time isn't your enemy. It is an amplifier. It multiplies whatever you feed it. If you waste it, it multiplies regret. If you invest it, it multiplies reward. Choose motion. Choose growth. Choose to build a year that celebrates effort rather than excuses. Every meaningful improvement starts with discipline. Without it, nothing can hold together. Ambition eventually fades, plans inevitably collapse, and motivation will always disappear when things get difficult. Discipline is the literal backbone of all human progress. Too many people misunderstand this concept, viewing discipline as a form of punishment. It isn't. Discipline is training. It is the vital bridge between what you want and what you actually get. It is the cord that connects your desires to your results. Every success story you admire was built on that bridge. Discipline starts small. It's found in how you handle your morning, how you spend that first hour after waking up, and whether you show up when you said you would. It is doing the work long after the initial excitement has worn off. Real progress doesn't come from occasional heroic efforts. It comes from steady, daily consistency. Once you have established the foundation of discipline, you must sharpen your focus. Focus is the ultimate multiplier. It determines the sheer quality of your output. Think of the human mind like sunlight. When it is scattered, it is pleasant but harmless. But when it is concentrated through a lens, it becomes powerful enough to start a fire. Most people never come close to reaching their true potential because they diffuse their attention across too many trivial things. They mistake movement for progress and noise for productivity. In our modern world, attention is the new currency. Every single day, 1,000 distractions are competing to make a withdrawal from your mental account. Your phone, your inbox, and the constant hum of social media. Each interruption carries a cost. Improvement begins when you start managing your attention as strictly as you manage your money. You wouldn't hand your wallet to a random stranger, yet many people hand their focus to anything that flashes or pings. Every wasted hour is a theft from the 2027 version of yourself. The key to mastery is not doing more, but doing less, better. Clarity multiplies your results, while confusion divides them. A divided effort produces half-hearted results, no matter how much energy you expend. This year, decide what truly deserves your presence. Every yes you give must be backed by 1,000 silent no's. The world rewards the specialist, not the dabbler. Mastery demands that you stay effective rather than just staying busy. Guard your mental environment. Create before you consume. If you control what goes into your mind, you will eventually control what comes out of your life. This leads us to the next vital area of improvement: your energy. Energy is the physical and emotional foundation of all performance. You cannot hope to build a monumental year on a weak, neglected body. You cannot lead others effectively when you are constantly fighting your own fatigue. A tired body dulls the sharpest ambition. Your body is the engine driving your dreams toward 2027. If the engine is poorly maintained, every other part of your life will inevitably slow down. Energy is more than just physical stamina. It is the combination of emotional, mental, and spiritual strength. When your energy is high, every challenge looks like a manageable step. When it is low, even the smallest task looks like an impossible mountain. Your first investment for the coming year shouldn't be a new gadget or a new goal. It should be renewed vitality. Start with the basics of sleep and nutrition. Sleep is not a nuisance to be avoided. It is the essential reset button for your brain. The body eventually collects every debt of rest you owe, and it usually sends the bill in the form of burnout or illness. Likewise, your nutrition is your fuel. What you consume either strengthens your system or slows it down. When you add movement and consistent exercise to the mix, you aren't just changing your physique. You are circulating energy and strengthening your discipline. Energy management is far more important than time management. You can have all the time in the world, but if you have no energy, those hours are useless. Finally, to be ready for 2027, you must improve your financial knowledge. Money is a mirror. It reflects your habits, not your hopes. It tells the cold, hard truth about your priorities and your self-control. You cannot improve your quality of life without improving how you handle your resources. Financial growth doesn't come from luck. It comes from deliberate control. Most people don't actually have an income problem. They have a management problem. They earn, they spend, and they wonder why their foundation never feels solid. Wealth isn't defined by what you make. It's defined by what you keep. The habit of paying yourself first, of keeping a portion of everything you earn, is the seed of your future independence. Improvement begins by finding and fixing the leaks in your ship. Small, careless impulses and recurring expenses you never review are the silent thieves of your freedom. Track your spending, not to restrict your life, but to understand it. Debt is another drain you must manage. Interest is the heavy price you pay for impatience. Learn to delay gratification long enough for your future self to thank you. Don't buy things to impress people. Buy things to progress your mission. As this year closes, take an honest inventory. Plug the leaks, build a cushion, and create a plan. When 2027 arrives, let your bank account reflect your wisdom rather than your emotions. Money, when managed well, is a servant that builds your dreams. When mismanaged, it becomes a master that steals them. To truly succeed in the coming year, you must protect your environment. Your surroundings act as the laboratory where your future is either formulated or dissolved. The individuals you associate with, the conversations you participate in, and the standards you are willing to tolerate all create the atmosphere in which your potential grows. You cannot expect to rise if you are tethered to relationships that constantly sap your energy. Every association carries a degree of influence. Some will lift you higher, while others will quietly pull you down. As you approach 2027, have the courage to prune your circle. This isn't about judgment. It's about the survival of your dreams. Surround yourself with those who discuss ideas rather than people, and those who plan for the future rather than complaining about the past. Furthermore, you must realize that the world does not reward potential. It rewards skill. Skill is the great divider between the dreamer and the achiever. If you want more from the marketplace, you must become more valuable. Value is built through the relentless pursuit of learning and practice. The day you stop learning is the day you begin to lose your edge. Every new skill you master opens a door that was previously locked. Don't wait for a promotion to start preparing. Refine your craft now so that when the opportunity arrives, you are the obvious choice. Your future is also being built quietly by your daily habits. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Habits are the architects of your destiny, shaping everything from your health to your confidence. If you want 2027 to be different, you must interrupt the loops that no longer serve you. Audit your days and see where your time actually goes. Successful people simply run better routines. They have replaced randomness with a steady rhythm that reinforces their goals. However, even with the best habits, life will test you. This is where resilience becomes your greatest asset. Things will inevitably go wrong, and plans will shift. Resilience is the ability to take a hit without losing your sense of purpose. A strong mind doesn't panic, it evaluates. It looks at every challenge and asks, what can this teach me? Every trial you pass expands your confidence, making you unshakable when the next storm arrives. Finally, you must sharpen your vision. Without a clear vision, all your effort is just motion without meaning. Purpose gives direction to your discipline. Take the time to define what success looks like for you, not for your neighbors or your peers, but for your own life. Write it down and review it often. A written vision acts as a compass when your emotions start to waver. This brings us to the final bridge: accountability. Information alone will not change your life. Only execution will. You already know what needs to be improved. The question is, will you act? Don't wait for the perfect moment in January to begin. Start small, but start now. Hold yourself accountable to the promises you make to yourself. No one else will care as much about your future as you do. Ownership is the starting point of all transformation. As the calendar moves toward 2027, let it find you already in motion. Success is earned quietly, one accountable choice at a time. Review your progress often, pick one area to improve, and keep moving forward. Time will pass regardless of what you do. Make sure it passes in your favor. Your journey to a better version of yourself doesn't start next year. It starts right now.